First impressions can be deceiving. Many game characters may initially look heroic, but dig a little deeper and you'll often find they're evil incarnate. So, with that being said, bear in mind that there are some huge spoilers for the games on our list. We are going to ruin these games for you if you haven't played them. Consider yourself warned. Some of these stars lie to themselves until they believe they're a force for good. Others are slowly seduced by the dark side of the PC force, while the odd secret swine is just really good at hiding their inner dastard. The following list of games feature people who perhaps wanted to do the right thing at some point, but ultimately ended up becoming the virtual villain of the piece. Here are 9 games where you're secretly the bad guy. When you first set eyes on him, Tim seems like a lovely little fellow. Unlike certain platforming peasants who run around in shiny red dungarees, Tim's adorable suit shows the intrepid time fiddler has style. Despite his snappy dress sense though, Tim isn't actually the hero of Braid. Instead, he's the delusional villain whose obsession has twisted his perception of reality. Braid's first levels of time-slowing, clone-creating, mushroom-men-stomping puzzle fun would make you think Tim is trying to save his beloved princess. However, when you reach the game's final stage, a darker truth is revealed. After seemingly saving his love from a burly knight, you're forced to play back through the action in reverse. And it's this time-distorting turn of events that reveals Tim's true identity. He's not the princess's savior, he's her stalker. Played backwards, the sequence reveals Tim is obsessively chasing the princess, and that the brawny knight is really the woman's saviour. Of course, considering Braid was cooked up by the super brain of Jonathan Blow, that's not the end of the story. Thanks to an endgame quote from the American physicist Kenneth Bainbridge, many fans believe Tim was a scientist who took part in the nuke-creating Manhattan Project, and that the princess actually represents the first atomic bomb. Deep stuff, right? Tim, level with us. Are you a delusional nuclear physicist rather than a dapper Mario clone? You are? Who'd have thunk it? Aiden Pierce is the world's most miserable man. Whether he's moping around in a seedy, sunless motel room or moping some more as he stares at his wall of obsession, this enormously grumpy hacker just can't find the fun in life. Of course, Ubisoft would have you ignore these crippling emotional problems in favour of making you believe Pierce is a decent dude. Look, here he is hugging his nephew at a birthday party. Oh. But wait, don't let Aiden fool you. Watch Dogs may try and paint him as a loyal family man, but he's actually a massive jerk. Make no mistake, Aiden Pierce is pure evil. He may have lost his niece, but most grieving people don't beat up police with collapsible batons. Nor do they steal private information from every person they meet, and they certainly don't cause massive pile-ups just because they're bored. Aiden's justification for messing with other people's lives through his hacking hijinks is not only super flimsy, it's also really mean and bloody creepy. Breaking into his sister's emails, turning off the lights at a baseball game and ruining 40,000 sports fans' evening, fiddling with traffic blockers to upturn passing cars, spying on poor Caleb Bailey who just wants to be left alone to enjoy his amateur erotica in peace, damn it. He may have a seriously kick-ass coat, but this horrid hacker is human garbage. On first inspection, Special Agent Ann Tarver seems like a pretty good FBI employee. She always shows up promptly for meetings with her superiors, she's an absolute whiz with early 90s PCs, and she genuinely cares about her work. Like the case of a missing boy that comes across her desk one day. Don't let Tarver's diligent demeanour trick you into thinking she's good people though. Anne may care about the job, but unfortunately she cares more about stabbing colleagues in their suited backs to get ahead at the bureau. Just look at the poor Maria Halperin. This experienced agent is saddled with a treacherous corporate climber during the pair's case in the small town of Kingdom, Virginia. Despite letting her guard down, bonding over beers, and even making her double-crossing partner a sumptuous-looking fry-up, Halperin is still screwed over by Anne. Do adorable buffalo plushies mean nothing to you, Agent Tarver? Sadly, the only moral of Virginia's story is deceit will get you ahead in life. Not content with ruining Halperin's career, Anne goes back to her devious FBI boss for more underhanded work, routinely betraying colleagues who were stupid enough to befriend her. Oh well, Tarver may not be a hero, but at least she ends up as an FBI director, who has a lifetime of eating alone ahead of her. Dear Lord, those are some depressing peas. Cuphead gives crockery everywhere a bad name. Don't think for a second that this cutesy cuppa is the hero of this hellaciously hard platformer. The only reason you're forced to fight all those disgustingly tough bosses is because Cuphead is a no-good degenerate gambler. He may have the sort of cutesy cartoon face that makes you want to drink chamomile tea from his head, but Cuphead is a selfish swine. After losing a bet with the devil, the dastardly mug barters for his life in spineless style. Rather than forfeit his life with grace, Cuphead instead decides to act as Satan's own personal bounty hunter, tracking down and capturing the souls of creatures who've lost wages with the devil. Look closely at Cuphead's array of put-upon bosses and you'll see them for what they truly are, innocent victims. An adorable daffodil turned feral because he's desperate to save his own life. Acrobatic frogs who yearn to entertain circus patrons but instead have to wage warfare on a self-centered piece of porcelain. A poor potato who's forced into delicious self-defense when he probably just wants to be gently baked with some cheddar. Do these poor souls sound like villains to you? The real monster of this 2D tale isn't an enormous killer carrot or a misunderstood homicidal clown, it's Cuphead, the most craven, self-centered mug you'll ever meet. Nothing in Columbia ever quite conforms to the status quo. The damsel in distress is actually a paranormal badass capable of tearing holes in the fabric of the universe. Her protector is a 10-ton mechanical budgie, and savior-in-waiting Booker DeWitt is simultaneously the game's hero and its ultimate villain. Come again? Yup, Booker and main antagonist Comstock are actually one and the same. The latter is merely an older, magnificently bearded version of DeWitt from a parallel universe. It's only in the final half hour that you're given enough information to paste together the pieces. The head-scratching cliff notes? Elizabeth is Booker's daughter. She was whisked away to Columbia as a baby after DeWitt unwittingly sold her to his older alternate reality self. And now, 20 years on, he's come back to the city in the clouds to rescue her from, himself.
Who are you?
My name is DeWitt. I'm a friend. I come to get you out of here.
Get away!
Poor confused Booker is even responsible for Elizabeth's mutilated finger. When the two DeWitts fight over her as she's being taken to Columbia, the portal to the Skyward City closes on her infant digit. Ouch. Pinky swear, Lizzie? Too soon? At least Booker semi-redeems himself by travelling back to the moment he was baptised as Comstock, this time letting alternate versions of his daughter hold him down in the drink to ensure his evil, beardy alter ego is never created. What a way to go. Bruce Wayne needs to seek professional counselling. The whole world and their granny knows Gotham's billionaire playboy has issues. Your parents getting gunned down 3 inches from your face will have that effect. Still, Bruce's current form of therapy really isn't doing the sociopathic socialite any favours. Batman may think he's a hero of Arkham Knight, yet in reality, he's less of a force for good than George Clooney's worryingly stiff bat nipples. Just look at how he spends his nights. Instead of lying down on an expensive shrink's couch talking out his troubles, the Caped Crusader goes around beating up a bunch of aggressive hobos. His hulking tank of a Batmobile isn't doing the city any favours either. If the armoured abomination isn't crushing some sorry thug's skull, it's ripping the roads up at 150 miles an hour. Real heroes obey the speed limit, bats. And that's all without mentioning poor Jason Todd. If it wasn't for the Dark Knight's terrible mentoring, the troubled sidekick would never have been kidnapped by the Joker, in turn sparing him the psychological scars that ultimately transform into Gotham's whiniest evildoer, the Arkham Knight. Face it, Batman, you're the bad guy. If we were you, we'd ditch the hero complex and get those clown problems dealt with. We here Arkham Asylum cells are super cozy this time of year. If a game primarily involves kicking space mutants' genitals first into cacti, it shouldn't come as a shock that its lead character is no hero. Grayson Hunt may swagger around like a sweary Wolverine cosplayer, but beneath all the filthy jokes lies a deeply flawed villainous individual. Bulletstorm often paints Grayson as a cheerfully aloof mercenary. Every now and then, though, the mask slips, and you get a look at what Hunt really is. A broken down drunk who makes with the funnies to disguise his murderous guilt. An early flashback shows why Grayson is so epically messed up. Following a vomit-inducing walk down a skyscraper, Hunt and his crew assassinate what they believe is a war criminal. In actual fact, their crooked leader General Serrano has duped them, and Grayson has unknowingly killed an innocent journalist who was about to lift the lid on a corrupt military man.
Have you had us killing innocent civilians?
What in the name of sweet Mary Mother of Christmas did you think you were doing out there all this time?
Turns out Hunt's Dead Echo group has actually been bumping off innocents all along. But hey, why dwell on all those civilian contract killings when there are alien monsters to shoot in the crotch? Don't get distracted thinking about Grayson's horrible crimes. Here, kick this poor sucker into barbecued oblivion instead. Oh, that's gotta sting. And to think, a guy who begins his game booting someone out of an airlock into the uncaring bleakness of space isn't a good dude. What a shocker. Captain Walker is not your typical Nolan North hero. Sure, he has the same impeccable jawline many of the voice actors other leading men are blessed with, but underneath that chiseled facade, all is not well. Inspired by Joseph Conrad's novella Heart of Darkness, Spec Ops follows the story of Captain Walker's quest to infiltrate the sandstorm-ravaged city of Dubai as he tries to find his AWOL former mentor, Colonel Conrad. See what they did there? Throughout the game, you're repeatedly told tales about Conrad's unhinged state of mind, and as Walker and his squad engage in ever-bloodier firefights with the Colonel's lost battalion, the three-man unit resorts to increasingly questionable measures. By questionable measures, we mean bombing the soldiers to hell with white phosphorus, and by soldiers, we actually mean some soldiers, but mainly innocent civilians who were accidentally incinerated in the crossfire. Oopsie. By the time Walker eventually reaches Conrad's penthouse, which happens to house gaming's most opulent aquarium, he's a broken, morally bankrupt shell of himself. Oh, and did we mention Conrad has actually been dead for weeks? The version you've been having a nice chinwag with is actually a hallucination, a byproduct of the dissociative disorder Walker's developed over the course of the game as a way to rationalise all the atrocities he's committed. You really are a delusional dastard, Captain Walker. Robert Carlyle's soothing Scottish tones sure are effective at throwing people off the scent of evil. Thanks to the train-spotting actor's enchanting Highland brogue, you'd never suspect dreamy Gabriel Belmont is anything but an earnest, incorruptible knight while playing through Castlevania Lords of Shadows. Well, not until you reach that post-credits epilogue.
Gabriel. Don't you dare call me that.
For the first 99% of Konami's hack-and-slash reboot, Belmont is a good, albeit grieving man. As he hunts down the powerful Lords of Shadow in order to stop Satan and bring back his dead wife, Gabe's actions are almost always honourable. Slapping pesky monsters about, teaming up with badass horses that lead packs of werewolves off cliffs like lunar-loving lemmings, getting into airborne scraps worthy of Dragon Ball Z with the devil, these are the actions of a true hero. There's just no looking past that final 1% of Lords of Shadow though. During one of the coolest twists ever, it's revealed that not only has the action jumped ahead centuries, but Gabriel is now a vamp living in Castlevania City circa 2057. Belmont isn't any old common bloodsucker either, he's only gone and become Dracula in the 1,000 years that seemingly passed during the end credits. Talk about a fall from grace. Good thing Gabe at least earned some pre-Drac karma when he laid a satanic smackdown on the devil. Thankfully, many video game heroes are exactly what they appear to be on first inspection. Boring dullards with nary a hint of evil inside. Still, the next time you see a digital protagonist acting shifty, you should definitely assume the worst. After all, everyone has a super secret villain buried deep within. Or is that just us? It's us, isn't it? Let us know in the comments if you can think of any other games where you secretly played the bad guy, like this video if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe to Logitech G for more weekly shows. Thanks for watching.